All right. Well, welcome everybody. This is Fun Friday again with Jackie Cox, and I am here. I have a special guest, Julie Miller Davis of JMD Productivity, and she really has some great systems in place to help entrepreneurs with overwhelm, getting your tasks in alignment with helping you grow and getting you to success in your business. And so glad to have Julie here with us today. So Julie, would love to hear a little bit about you as well.
Hi, Jackie. Thank you for having me. My company, JMD Productivity Training, is 8 years old this month, actually. Sorry, I guess in April. And so exciting. And what we do is help women, entrepreneurs and business owners make space in their calendars so that they can get the right things done and move forward in an intentional way so they can build business bigger than they've ever built it, faster than they've ever built it.
Yes.
And so we really work with women on their front end habits and patterns, not necessarily their back end systems, so that they are making good choices each day and leaving time, as we're going to talk about today, for the things in life that they love to do and not have that be something they're fitting in, but they're actually doing intentionally.
Yes, awesome. And I have worked with Julie several times throughout my career. We pretty much started our business similar time frames. I think I started 9 years ago and she said 8 years ago. But we met pretty early on in our starting of our businesses. And so I've been loving Julie's journey. We've done some great things together. I myself have gone through multiple programs with Julie and just really feel that sense of being able to feel connected to my business and feel more excited about my business based on, the different habits and things I've put in place with Julie's work. So really grateful for you, Julie. So I'm excited to hear a little bit. Today, we're going to be talking about productivity and creativity and how we bring them both into our business. But before I do that, Julie, would you mind, since this is Fun Friday, would you mind sharing a fun fact about yourself or your business, or, why you started your business?
Let's see. I don't think the fun fact is why I started my business, but so we'll go with Jackie knows that I'm an avid hiker, and many people do, and I've actually hiked 17 of the 14ers in Colorado. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Wow. I've done 3 and I thought that was great, but 17 is really, truly incredible.
Well, I started earlier. I lived in Colorado, so before you.
Nice. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, so tell us a little bit about your current productivity routine in your own business. I know you coach to it, and I would love to hear how you incorporate it to your business as well.
Well, I think that it's hard to say there's one productivity routine. There's so much that you can do throughout a day that will increase your productivity, and a month and a week that you can do to increase your productivity. But I would say one of the biggest things is to incorporate into your morning, either first thing in the morning or last thing in the evening, looking at the day ahead so that you really have a grasp on what is in front of you and what are the other things, I call them what are the other things that you have to do throughout the day that are not on your calendar. And so you might have some meetings on the calendar, like I might have this interview and I have another pre-interview after this, and I have a coaching call later today, but I don't have things like write my newsletter on my calendar, and I don't have, that I need to look at, or I need to pay my bills, or I need, whatever, or I need to send my invoices, or whatever, whatever it might be. And so what are the biggest drivers in your business that day, and when are you going to do them, is really a big part of what I train on and what I teach on. And you guys, for productivity, so many people think it's checking off the most things wins, and it's not. That's not productive. That's just busy and getting a lot of stuff done.
Yeah.
and getting a lot of stuff done. So what? Like,
right.
I'm not going to give you a gold star for that. I am going to give you a gold star if you focused on the big things that are driving you forward in a day. And so the other part of that is if we're not busy and getting the most things done, we actually have time to do the things that we love to do. We have, or need to do for ourselves. And so it's exercise, or today I have a facial, and there's
Nice.
things that we need to do to take care of ourselves and to take care of our souls. And so the
Mhm.
more that you can really look at a day, look at a week at a time, you can figure out where those things go and
Mhm.
be a little more structured. And that, I mean, it's not a routine except for looking at the calendar the night
Yeah.
before or the morning of, but it's really around, a habit of, let's be proactive about our calendar and what we're doing.
Nice. So based on what you just said, Julie, it sounds like you've really created some balance in your life, meaning you have a lot of the focused productivity time for your business. You're driving your business forward, but you also mentioned you're taking time for yourself to fill your soul, to do a facial, to do tennis or hiking or skiing. So how do you feel like you have evolved since your business started 8 years ago and now to where you're at of really being able to say, yes, there is some balance in your life?
Well, I think that, whenever we start a business, it's like your hair's on fire, right? You're trying to
Yeah.
get the word out there and all of that. And the big thing is having that light at the end of the tunnel. Like, I know that for me, August, September, October every year are super full and super busy. And then November, December, January are a little bit more downtime. I specifically work for June and July to be a little lighter on my calendar
Mm.
so that I can play golf. I mean, golf is it's at least a half a day when you go out. If you're a man, generally it's like 8 hours, but women, it's like 5. Um, but I think that, and then I can play tennis a couple mornings, a few mornings a week or whatever with
Yeah.
my business. And so what it's really come down to, Jackie, is I look at my year and I know when I want to travel. I know when I know that on Tuesdays is in the summer is always the golf day because that's when our 18 hole ladies play. I know that I have tennis on Wednesday mornings and Friday mornings. And so I block that off first. And my
Yeah.
business is structured around all of that. And then this year, Tuesdays in the winter became my ski day, and I didn't ski every Tuesday. I skied a couple Tuesdays a month. And so those other Tuesdays actually ended up being gifts of time and when I could schedule some of my clients in there and some other things. And it was like this breathing time when I'm like, oh, I can actually do that on Tuesday because I'm not going skiing this week. And so it's been this I think we have to have harmony, and that business and life aren't separate. You're not
Right.
balancing life and business. You and I have talked about this. It's not
Yeah.
life over here, business over here. It's like, I'm sorry, but it's life and business. And it's not like
Yes.
I'm going to work really hard so that then I can take 24 hours off. It's like, take a half day here, a half day there, a couple hours here or there. And so that
Yeah.
you feel like you're not, I mean, when we had jobs, we had to work like that. Why would we do that to ourselves with a business when we can really work hard when we work hard, and we can take a couple hours and
Right.
go for a walk, go for a hike, go to the gym, go for a facial, whatever, and then come back and work, or work until 3 and then do that stuff.
Mhm.
So that's really where it's come down to, is I schedule that stuff generally first
Mhm.
and then the rest.
Yeah, I think I mean, that's so important. I talk about, balance. Balance is never a perfect scale. We're
No,
never working towards
we're
the
balancing. Yeah.
yes, we're balancing. I love that. And I mean, we're working through the ebbs and flows throughout our business, throughout our life. And we're trying to avoid those big, huge up spikes and big down lows, right? And so if we can do that by doing the things you're talking about with scheduling the time and the things that are important to you, that fuel you and light you up, create that fun in your life as well, because then it makes the business part of it that much more fun. You're that much more connected to your passion, to what you're working towards, to your goals. And so it is that balance of, you created this business for a purpose and for more freedom, for being able to have ultimately more balance in your life. And so I love that you talk about, really making yourself a priority in that space. And anyone out there listening, it is not selfish. In fact, you should do that first, because that's what will get you fueling and being your best self for your clients and your business and all the things. So I think that that's really great. Thank you for sharing that. So we're entering in a brand new quarter starting tomorrow officially. And I know that, even what you said, you work through your calendar in 90-day increments. And so your calendar doesn't necessarily align with truly the quarters of the calendar, but your busy time, when your 90-day business busy times are. So are you in the middle of a 90-day push right now, or what are you working on right now for this next quarter?
I actually just finished a pretty big 90-day push.
Nice.
And so April and May and June, I've got goals around, because my next Unstuck program starts in June. So I've got work to do between now and then, and I've got webinars that I'm running and things like that. But I myself am not out traveling, out speaking, out that kind of stuff right now. It's
Right.
much more at home in my office with my team, like
Nice.
honing and massaging all the leads and all the work that I've done over the last 90 days and kind of prepping for what happens in June. So it's very much it's now I've got to take all the work that I've done over the last 90 days and start really working with those people and working on those leads and visibility online more than in person. It's just
Nice.
it's just a different season.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so what is one tip in that space when you're helping your clients work through this 90-day process? What is a tip that you have to share regarding, being able to set up the right goals? Again, working towards the big goal, towards the big, those big goals that you've set for the year, but then to be able to break that down.
I think what's really important, Jackie, is that we actually look at what's the goal 180 days from now, because
Nice. Okay.
what we want to do is the work towards setting us up for that. So it's not like the work I do now is not what's going to happen in this 90 days. It's what's going to happen in the next 90 days. So
Sure.
what I do now is going to come to fruition in June, July, August. It's not going to come to fruition in April and May generally. So a lot of the work I did in January, February, March is now coming to fruition in April, May, June.
Sure.
So it's kind of like if you have a launch that you want to do in June, then back it out and let's do the work now, because otherwise June comes and you're wanting to launch this thing and nobody knows about it. You haven't you haven't been visible or laid the groundwork, and then you're scrambling to get people in and you're like, I don't understand why this didn't succeed. Well, you weren't talking about it for the last 60 or 90 days. And so if you want it, you've got to figure out, if you want something to go in 90 days, you have to work on it now or last month even for it to go. And so I think too many times we think that things are good because of the work we're doing now. And we have to realize things are good because of the work we did 2-3 months ago. And so if you guys can switch your thinking around that, it's a game changer. And when things are a lull, it's not because of what you're doing now. It's because of what you weren't doing 60 or 90 days ago. It has nothing to do with what you're doing now.
Yeah.
It has to do with, oh crap, now let me scramble. And now all the leads died, nobody's seen you around or whatever it might be. And nobody knew it was coming and you expected, because when things are rolling, we don't really think about, and when things are rolling, we're just in it and we're not laying the groundwork for the future.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you, I know that one for some people, myself included, is a bit of a harder habit to break or to change. I know we try to replace habits and things like that, add new habits. So how do you help overcome that?
Well, if you're with me for a long time, then I get you here. But what I do for me and have done for years now is I set up my marketing calendar for the coming year in November. So last November, I looked at my whole year. What am I launching when? And then my team and I backed it out. Like, what should we be promoting when? And what am I talking about when? And what am I giving away when? And so it's laid out 2 months before the year begins.
Yeah.
And we know, and we've backed out all of our promotional, all the plans of what's happening based on the big launches for the year.
Mhm. Nice.
And you guys, I mean, this has been a journey.
Yeah.
And so if you can even just think in those 90-day increments and
Yeah.
then be like, all right, well, I want to launch this in June. So that means I need to start in March talking about it
Yeah.
and getting it all ready. And you can talk about it without it being ready. Like it just needs to be ready in June, but you can start talking about it in March. Does that
Oh,
make
that's a good
sense?
point. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be, I mean, you have 3 months to get it ready, but you already know the concept of whatever I'm just talking about launches. There's obviously other things in your business, but
Yeah.
launches or working with customers or getting people into discovery sessions or whatever you might be doing. Or if you're going to be running a big promotion in June, let's set
Sure.
people up and warm them up so they're ready for it in June. If you're a brick and mortar or something like we have to prep people or else
Yeah.
they don't, I mean, as you know, and they don't make a decision till the last minute, but it doesn't mean they haven't been thinking about it. So
Sure.
we can't give it to them at the last minute. We have to like let
Good
them
point.
chew on it for a while.
Noodle on it. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Those are great tips. Wow. Thank you for that, Julie. I really appreciate you sharing about that. I mean, again, as a client of yours and going through your program, I've been hearing these things, but it's such a great reminder. I get super motivated every time I'm on calls with you and the team and things like that. So it's awesome. It's awesome. Okay. So again, since this is Fun Friday, so what types of creativity and fun things are you doing in your own business and your own life right now?
So, in my business, I this is my nerd coming out. I
Love it.
as a past teacher, my creativity was always around creating curriculum and creating lesson plans and thinking about how to do things in a fun way, in a different way. And so like I have retreats that I do every year. So the creativity comes in planning those retreats. And I know planning is the word there, but it's really around how am I making this an experience? And for me, that's really creative. And also writing my curriculum. That's writing lesson plans is one of my most favorite things to do as a teacher, which I know some people are probably balking at, but it was what I mean, I love teaching, but like that part of planning and what is going to make this fun for people and how am I going to hook them and that kind of thing. It's really creative. And outside of that, you know, I worked with Jackie, just so all of you know, I worked with Jackie for several months at the end of the year last year to try to bring joy back and bring some creativity back, because we do get stuck in the drudgery of things. And even though I am outside a lot, I'm hiking and I'm skiing and I'm golfing and I'm playing tennis and that fills my soul, but I wasn't feeling like I was digging in to being creative. I was kind of stuck in my routines. And I think creativity sometimes comes from doing just doing things differently than you've been doing them. And so like last year I went with Jackie on her creative retreat to Italy. So I studied Italian for like 4 months before we went, and I was by no means good at it at all, but every day I did my little Italian lesson.
Love
Like
it.
you know, I might watch a foreign film, which also is like tapping into this other side of your brain. And it's just, there's so many things that you can do that don't have to be art to be creative.
Correct.
It could be through, and for me, photography is a big thing, and I'm not a photographer, but I love taking photos of things from different angles and in different ways that people are seeing them. And I squat down, I lie down, I stand up high, I turn things black and white or whatever. So that's really been fun too. And in my business, Jackie and I had talked about me trying to find something or somewhere to go or something to do every time I travel, to go take a picture of something and post it and just really think about it that way and tap into some local stuff. So
that's awesome. And I mean, you nailed it. I always encourage people. So many times people tell me I'm not creative. And then I just kind of get a little giddy inside, because creativity is not about art always. Art, if you have that talent, that is so beautiful. And I will never, ever take that away from people. That is creative. That is the ultimate creativity. also there's so much more to creativity, like Julie was talking about, with the different spaces of the thought process and new perspectives and new coloring and different thinking differently. That's what creativity is. And if you're willing to push outside your comfort zone, that's how you can tap into it. And that's always what I encourage people. And I always want to make sure, we meet you where you're at. I'm going to push you a little bit, but if you don't want to do something, that's hindering your creativity. That's not helping it. So we, want to make sure we're meeting where you're at as well. But
and I think a lot of times it's taking those boundaries and rules that we put into place away, right?
Right.
Not breaking the law or anything, but it's like we have all these rules and all these things, that boxes that things have to fit in. And if you can color outside of the lines and break the rules, whatever rules you have set up for yourself, like break, like, oh, I can't do that because of this. It's like, why? And so what if you did? Like,
right. Like, what happens if you tried, right? And I even heard you say that this week in our training in Unstuck, of what happens if you don't, right? If you're not doing the things you're setting out to do, what happens if you don't do it? Well, you're still going to be here. You're not going to grow. You're not going to be able to push yourself. And that's where, creativity comes in alignment with that as well, because we've got to be able to learn how to push ourselves, connect to why we're doing this in the first place, connect to our passion, connect to who we are. That's the ultimate goal, right? So, all right, as we wrap this up, Julie, I'm so glad that you came on with us today, but why don't you share what you have going on in your business and what you'd like to tell our audience today?
Oh, awesome. I would love to tell you all about a class I have coming up at the end of May, middle of May. It's called Stop Procrastinating Now. And you can check that out at my website. It's out there, but I also would love for you to take a free gift that I have out there right now. And it's really 5 tips since we talked about routine and how to get just the most out of your day productivity wise. I have a downloadable called, or actually it's an Audible, 5 tips to get the most out of your day. And actually it could be like 5 tips to get more playtime in your week, honestly. Like,
nice.
It'll get you probably up to 10 hours in your week. So it's juliemillerdavis.com/5 tips. And I would love for you to download that, listen to it on your walk that you're going to take later today, and enjoy that and download it and use it again and again and again.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Julie, and for coming on with me today. And just as I'm going to wrap it up here really quick. So I have a couple things coming up as well. I have a free webinar coming up on Tuesday, April 18th. And I'm going to be talking about creativity and what that looks like and how we can connect to our passion and ultimately working towards creating more balance in our lives. So I would love to have you join me for that. And then the other one that I have is at the end of the month in April 28th, I have a Women's Day retreat coming up. We live in Conifer and we live in a geodesic dome. So it's a really creative space as well. And so that is for women only. And I have 5 seats available for that. Both of those events can be found at swirlsllc.com/events, and you'll find both of those. So go ahead and register for both of those. Would love to have you stay connected with us. So Julie Davis, thank you so much for coming on today. Really appreciate you. She's been really a lifesaver in getting my business to where I need it to be and also feeling productive in the process. So thank you so much for coming on today, Julie, and everybody else have a great, fun Friday.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks, everybody. All right.